We now begin live debate coverage for Congressional District 19 in the Republican primary, moderated by Chad Hasty.
Good evening and welcome to the Lubbock County Republican Party Texas 19 debate. I am your debate moderator, Chad Hasty. This debate is being hosted at Hillcrest Golf and Country Club and being broadcast on News Talk 95.1, 790 AM KFYO in Lubbock, as well as being heard in Abilene on KYYW, along with our other great affiliates in West Texas and in the Panhandle. Tonight's rules are very simple. There will not be any opening statements. You've probably heard a lot from these gentlemen who are on the stage already. We'll have 1-minute closing statements at the end, 2-minute answers, 60-second rebuttal time, and we could change some of these times just depending on how time goes. The first question that we'll start off with, and this is going to be for every candidate, and we'll start with Abraham Enriquez. We'll start with you. What specifically about your personal background and work history makes you the most qualified on this stage to represent District 19?
Great to be with you all. I want to stop and say I'm so happy to see my friend Matt here. Matt, our team and my family paused this morning to put you and your family in prayer. Glad to see that you're here. Glad to see your family's here. What uniquely sets us apart? Well, one, maybe running the largest organization in the country that is pro-Hispanic voter mobilization, being a partner to not one but two Trump White Houses, and also running a trade association that has brought in over $100 billion of investments into the United States, and partnering with the White House to ensure that we passed over a dozen pieces of legislation, get across the finish line that were pro-America first. So I think that's what makes us the most experienced in this ballot.
Okay. Mr. Sell.
Thanks, Chad, and thanks to all the listeners who are tuned in. And is the mic working all right, Steve? I'm just going to keep on talking through this. That sounds better. I'm Tom Sell, and okay. Ooh, don't cross. Does that sound better? Not so much. What you think? Okay, so Tom Sell. Sorry for the feedback. Is that going to be better? Yeah. Well, I think what distinguishes, we have loved raising a family in Lubbock, Texas. How's that sounding, Steve? Yeah, this one's, let's try this again. All right, test 1, 2, 3. Okay. Sorry, sir. What do you think? Going to be there? No?
Hello.
I can just speak loudly.
Let's get that one in the back. Yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Are you picking this up? Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me pass this over.
Try that. Fourth time's a charm.
Okay, Tom Sell, and this sounds just great. Thanks. Buttery smooth. No, it's now soft.
They don't like you.
You want to try someone else, and then we'll come back? Test 1, 2, 3. I can speak loudly.
Do you want to try to take the microphone and speak right here?
Okay. See if this works up front a little better. No, I think so. Okay, Tom Sell, and I'm so proud to be in this race. I'm just going to keep talking through it. Hopefully, we get it straightened out. I've raised my family right here in Lubbock, Texas, and have been proud husband to the lovely Kyla, formerly Nelson Sell, for 28 years. And we've loved just being a part of the community, serving on boards and foundations, and coaching Little League and doing all the things that I think a community leader should do. And running businesses at the same time. So my father and I, and my father's in the audience there, 85-year-old George Sell. Sorry to keep calling out your age, Dad, but I'm so proud of getting to run a cattle and farming operation with you for these last many years. We've also been involved in a lot of other business projects and ran my business with representing and being an advocate for the people of West Texas as we fight on particular issues in Washington, D.C. Federal policy matters to the 19th District. And so I think that history and the work that we've done in Washington while also raising a family and being a part of the community right here in Lubbock, Texas, being involved with the Republican Party, both at the federal level and here locally, qualifies me, and I'm just proud and very honored. And thank you all for coming out and doing your civic duty and being engaged in this very important race for the future of the 19th District of Texas. Thanks.
And now to Mr. Smith. And by the way, I did get word from my producer back at the studio. The entire time over the air, you were sounding fine. So it was just in here with these speakers that was being messed up. So we'll go with Matt Smith now.
All right, I'm Matt Smith. Y'all probably have seen our company, Fat Matt Roofing. We've built a very successful company, and out of building businesses, I look at it a lot like the parable of the talents. Whenever the steward brings increase, he hears, well done, good and faithful. And as in Luke describes it as, well done, good and faithful, you'll be over cities. And I believe whenever we steward well, then we will hear, it's time to be over cities. And that's where we're at. We've done exceptionally well. Born and raised in the 19th District. Love this area. 5 kids. Married 22 years. And we are going through the adoption process for our 6th. When it comes to things of faith, I don't just say it like I'm checking a box. It is a deep, deep conviction. And
You're good.
Okay. And so volunteered at a pregnancy center. Whenever I came back from a mission trip in Africa, I felt it was time to quit my job and volunteer. Ended up volunteering at Pregnancy Resources, and there I was able to sit with people facing crisis pregnancy and went through countless times talking to people and helped them to choose life over terminating their pregnancy. And the struggles that they go through is something that many people won't understand. But whenever you get to love someone, you love your neighbor just like Jesus said. Love God, love people. I've been able to go through and do this, and I've learned that success leaves clues. And my goal is to get to Congress and to go and love my neighbor as I love myself. Whenever we do that, I believe it's time for revival, and we're going to see men and women of Congress get to come to faith in Jesus Christ. When they come to faith in Jesus, they get a renewed mind, and they get to vote on stuff through that renewed mind, and we don't have to vote them out. I'm ecstatic to get to be here and talk about policy, talk about other things outside of just faith. But whenever it comes to all of it, if I had to say one thing, if we get revival in government, I'm happy.
All right, thank you. And Mr. May, go ahead, and you can stay right there at the table.
I will stay here. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Donald May. I spent my life being a servant as a retina surgeon, a military retina surgeon, a veteran, a farmer. And it is my goal to continue to be a servant to our country, to go to Washington, to work like our founding fathers, spend time there. Jody Arrington set a good precedent coming back after 10 years, coming back home to West Texas. As I said, I'm a decorated veteran. I spent time in the Air Force as a retina surgeon. 2 years after Vietnam, I put together the ocular trauma service for the U.S. military. I was stationed at Wilford Hall. We brought people in from all over the world and fixed them. I'm a sixth generation farmer. My wife and I buy and operate small farms. We have a number of good tenants working for us. We keep the hands in small farms out of the big corporations and out of the hands of the Chinese. Energy production, my undergraduate major was nuclear physics. I've been involved in energy production and followed energy production my entire career. Sharia law, I've spent time in the Middle East. I have experience with it, both overseas and domestically. We cannot allow Sharia law or any other foreign laws to enter our country. Artificial intelligence, we've been using and developing artificial intelligence on our farming operations for more than 20 years. I've spent the last 42 years out in Silicon Valley working with my wife, working with people in artificial intelligence. Christian foundations. We need to restore our Christian foundations. I wrote for townhall.com after 9/11. As a result of my Christian writings, the American Communist Party declared me the third most dangerous man in America, and I'm rather proud of that. Constitutional law, when they needed someone to debate constitutional law at the law school with Arnold Lowy, they picked me. So for 3 3 years. He and I did a column in the Lubbock Avalanche Journal every 2 weeks. It's debatable. Healthcare finance, I've helped run major medical centers, been involved with 10 VAs, several other hospitals, and Planned Parenthood. I spent 4 terms on the Board of Health, and we got Planned Parenthood shut down here in Lubbock.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Corley.
Chad, your question was, what makes you uniquely qualified for this position? So
Yeah.
how do you differentiate yourself from your opponents? Well, I can tell you that I'm the only person on the stage here who's running for this office that has served in elected office. I have made budgets. I've made budgets. I've put together. I've had to live with what was on the agenda and had to make it work. I'm also the only candidate up here who's actually passed pro-life legislation. Project Destiny is a group here in our town that worked very hard to get that, to make Lubbock, the city of Lubbock, a sanctuary city for the unborn. When it came time for the county to do their part, they didn't have to picket. They didn't have to make signs. They didn't have to get a referendum. All they did was tell me at lunch, "Hey, y'all know the county can do this now." And I was very proud to go to Commissioner Rackler. Said, "Can you second me in this?" I said, "Sure can." It was on the agenda the next week. I've been there and I've done that, and that's the difference. A lot of people have been to Washington D.C. A lot of people have campaigned, but when you actually have to be the one to go in there to make policy, when you have to be the one to stand by that decision, that's the difference. Then the other question too is, how am I like my constituents? I've been self-employed. I'm a Christian. I'm a husband. I'm a father. My background was in the oil field. I've also worked in agriculture, and just lived here in the district most of my life. But what separates me from the rest of the pack, I would say, is be those things. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. James Barbee.
Yes, sir. My name's James Bob Barbee. I'm here because almost 40 years ago I had an uncle who told me that if you have the ability to help your country, you have the obligation to help your country. And that was a charge I took very seriously. And it took me to get to 62 years old before I had the ability. But our country's in desperate need of help. $40 trillion in debt. They're overspending their revenue by $1.6 trillion a year. I'm really good at balancing budgets, saving money, and earning money. And I want to bring change to our government. For the first time in 250 years, I want our government to start earning their own money instead of just taking your money away from you. It's a new concept. They've never done it before. The government just takes your money and spends it, or I should say waste it, on things that they shouldn't be spending it on. And my plan lowers health care costs and offers it to every citizen in this country. And it finally starts making the government earn their own money instead of just taking yours away from you. Maybe if we can get them to start earning their money, they'll quit wasting it because then they had to earn it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ryan Zink.
Let's see if this one works. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ryan Zink, and the reason that I'm running for Congress is because I'm a perfect blend of this area. 5 years ago this month, the federal government came in and ruined the life of a normal guy for 5 years. After being beaten and tortured and poisoned in Washington, D.C., I decided to take a stand for America. I was the safety director for Bayer Crop Science right here in Lubbock. I spend my time in the oil field now, and I'm a blend of American energy and cotton production across. My family is in ag. I know what it takes, and I know what it feels like to be a normal person who's overwhelmed by the input cost. I know what it takes and what it feels like to try to struggle to get by. And I don't have to make up accolades or do anything because I'm just a regular person from this area. My friends, my family, we're all in the business together of being Americans and getting by. Now, I see a lot of people in this room, and I used to be one of you. I used to sit and I used to look up on the stage and I used to wonder who's going to be the person that's going to sit out in this district and is going to be the voice for America. Now I'm becoming that person. I want to do the right thing for this district because the people that support me and believe in me and know my story understand exactly what it means to be a regular person, to struggle, to raise your kids, to laugh and joke with your friends and neighbors, but all at the same time, we're entirely worried about all of the national issues that we have coming up. And I've paid attention. I've traveled across the country. I've worked on many, many different campaigns. And I've seen what it takes. And I feel like I have the guts and the responsibility to keep fighting for this country when a country wouldn't fight for me, including several people in this district. But I still want to get up and I want to fight every day, pull my boots on, and go straight forward and represent you in this district in the United States of America for farm, ranch, and ag, for family, faith, and freedom. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take our first break. It's a 3-minute break. We'll take that. When we come back, we'll continue our Texas 19 debate.
Tonight's debate coverage is brought to you by Williams Brake, Tune, and Tire, 311 19th Street in Lubbock.
We now return to live debate coverage for Congressional District 19. Here's Chad Hasty.
All right, welcome back to our debate coverage here at Hillcrest Golf and Country Club and on Town Square Media. We start with some individual questions for some of these candidates. Commissioner Corley, you recently told LubbockLights.com, if you want to start solving our problems in lobbying, end the practice of lobbying completely. Nobody has any business talking to your congressman except for the constituents of that congressional district. You shouldn't be able to buy a congressman. Do you believe that any of your fellow candidates, including Mr. Sell or anyone else, has been bought and paid for?
Well, now you're getting into election law. So, to this point, no, but I do think it's questionable to look at how much money is going to candidates from certain groups. But now we're talking about PACs and super PACs. Those are two things that I think should go away too. We need to limit this just to the people donating to their representative. We should probably take a look too at donations coming from outside of the district as well. So, who's influencing your congressman?
Are you saying you want to get rid of those?
I think that should go away as well too. I would get rid of all three of those. Just let it be between you and your congressman and your representative without them having outside influence. We haven't even talked about influence from outside, from lobbyists from outside of the country or foreign countries that donate as well too, that have American ties. I mean, that's another thing we have to look at. Sometimes when you're wondering, did somebody sell us out? That's the question. Did that happen? And then you start looking at who they got donations from. Then you go, oh, well, that makes sense. Now I see why they voted that way. But.
Yep. Mr. Sell, you've been a lobbyist. Would you consider lobbyists bought and paid for? Would you consider being a lobbyist a bad thing?
I don't. It's an important way that we as Americans can exercise our First Amendment right? That freedom of speech, that freedom to petition the government, which is our constitutional right. I've served as an advocate for people who are often busy, right? And they have business to take care of on their farms, on their ranches. They don't necessarily have time to go and prepare a case and make the most compelling case. And so they work with people who know the waters of Washington, D.C., who have trust, credibility. I think oftentimes the idea of money in politics, which is also a fundamental First Amendment right, is overblown. There's too many people in Washington, D.C. just playing scapegoating someone or some easy answer, throwing something under the bus. The fact is, legislating in Washington, D.C. is very difficult. It's a gauntlet by the design of our forefathers, right? With our beautiful checks and balances and our constitutional separation of powers between the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judiciary. You have to get it right, and it's difficult. And sometimes you need help with people, with lawyers who are trained and know how to advocate and put together a case and an argument. So I think we've got to be very careful. Federal election law is clear, and it does have certain limits. And I appreciate those. There are limits on the amount that an individual can give, or a PAC for that matter. The dark money is where I really have problems and have never, that's a kind of a seedy area. So, but as far as the individual citizens' right to make their voice known, either by giving a campaign donation or by hiring a lobbyist, that's sacrosanct to me, per the U.S. Constitution. It's a beautiful freedom we know, and I want to fight for that right.
All right, thank you. Would any of you agree that we should get rid of donations from outside the district? Would any of you agree with that?
We need campaign finance reform. most definitely, and I'll give you an exact reason why. Health care in this country has gone up 200% since the implementation of Obamacare, okay? And everybody wonders why can't we fix it? What's going on? What's the problem? I'll tell you the problem. 1/3 of congressmen are invested in the healthcare industry, okay? And 93% of incumbent congressmen are receiving campaign finance from the healthcare industry. And you wonder why they won't take care of your issues. It's because they're getting paid not to. We need campaign finance reform definitely from outside the district, but we need to cap income and expenditures, both sides of that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Enriquez, recently a Washington Examiner article came out, and it quoted Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna of Florida. She previously served as vice president of your organization, Benvenito. She told the Washington Examiner, if there's anything you don't want in Congress, it's people associated or tied to corruption, as well as those who time and time again exhibit morally bankrupt behavior. Given what I see and deal with in D.C., as well as interacting with Abraham firsthand, I don't think he should at all be running for office. She's a sitting congresswoman. I'm sure you know her. How do you respond?
I know her very well. As many people in this room know her very well as well. I'm not in the, I would say I'm not in the group that believes in attacking other Republicans, so I will leave that there. And after we invited Congresswoman Luna to Lubbock, many of you in this audience were in that event. After that event, in a series of behavior that evening, Benvenito decided to part ways with then candidate Luna. And really her attack on this campaign is attack on actually, my mother. And I think it is important to talk about this because it's been going on for years, and I want to clarify it once and for all. My mother, Betty Cardenas, served as the national senior advisor to Hispanic outreach to the campaign. She is a close friend to the chief of staff of the president. And when a certain conversation was asked about her advice on Hispanic outreach in the campaign, it led to Congresswoman Luna to be sidelined outside of official campaign trail. And for whatever personal feelings, she is now attacking this campaign.
DSN headlines: the four men wrongfully accused of the 1991 Austin yogurt shop murders have finally got the news they've been waiting decades for. Judge Dana Blaisley officially clearing Robert Springsteen, Michael Scott, Forrest Wellborn, and Maurice Pierce of any connection to the murders. DNA testing eventually linked serial killer Robert Eugene Brashers to the yogurt shop murders. An Alvin woman was supposed to report to a Florida prison this week to start a 27-month federal sentence, but she never showed up. Abigail Schrei admitted in court to threatening the judge who presided over President Trump's election conspiracy case in August of 2023. Prosecutors say she also threatened then Congresswoman, the late Sheila Jackson Lee, all Democrats in Washington, and all people in the LGBT community. University of North Texas facing a $45 million budget shortfall. In a letter to staff, the school president said some hard decisions have to be made on how to deal with the deficit. Harrison Keller said the issue is a drop in international master students. With your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
It doesn't matter what we're talking about. Talk is cheap, and experience matters. So if you want an attorney general that's going to protect the border and keep criminals behind bars, you want someone who's done it before. Joan Huffman was a tough-as-nails prosecutor, putting criminals away. And then a judge, and nobody was tougher on crime. How about the border? In the state Senate, Joan Huffman got more money and manpower to stop Biden's invasion than any man in Texas. Oh, and I almost forgot. Joan passed the law to stop Texas cities from defunding their own police. Joan Huffman is tough. She's effective. She's the most qualified. And that's why Texas top law enforcement all endorse Joan. Joan Huffman, prosecutor, judge, a conservative for Attorney General. Political ad paid for by Texans for Joan Huffman.
but as we go overnight tonight, the winds will settle just a tad. We are expecting low temperatures to cool on down into the mid-20s to mid-30s around the region. Here in Lubbock, a low of 34 is expected. And then for our Friday, a mostly clear sky, except more dust will be moving in. Highs will near 70 degrees during the afternoon hours. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the All-American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Jacob Riley on Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Financial news on KFYO.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. Wall Street saw its two-day win streak come to an end. The Dow Industrials lost 267 points, ending the day at 49,395. NASDAQ was off by 71 points. The S&P 500 fell 19. Wayfair registered its first annual sales growth since 2020, posting $12.5 billion in sales. The online furniture business beat Wall Street expectations on the top and bottom lines due to rising order volumes and stronger customer acquisition. Carvana posted a quarterly beat thanks to better than expected vehicle sales. Retail sales were $4.16 billion, which is up 63% year over year. And the grandson of the inventor of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups has called out the Hershey Company, accusing it of hurting the Reese's brand by using cheaper ingredients in many products. Hershey acknowledges some recipe changes, but said it's trying to meet consumer demand for innovation. That's Your Money Now.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
This is Clay Travis. Don't forget to catch Buck and me on the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
Live local talk on Sundays. Reason, Religion, and Reality. Steve Evans and the Reason, Religion, and Reality crew are a panel of constitutionally minded, liberty-loving patriots covering topics from U.S. Supreme Court decisions, government actions across the spectrum, and attacks against the church. Reason, Religion, and Reality. Sundays noon to 2 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO and the KFYO app.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
We now return to live debate coverage for Congressional District 19. Here's Chad Hasty.
Welcome back to the Lubbock County Republican Party Texas 19 debate here at Hillcrest Golf and Country Club. We will begin this. Everyone's going to get to answer this question here. Mr. Sell, we'll start with you. The Farm Bill, obviously, major priority for this district. What are your specific priorities for the next Farm Bill reauthorization? What changes or improvements are needed for the farmers in Texas 19?
Great question. Thanks so much, Chad. A new Farm Bill draft was actually released this past Saturday. And it does some important things. There's 12 titles to a Farm Bill, but the most essential title is the safety net for farmers, primarily Title I and crop insurance and our conservation programs that help farmers make critical investments to build and conserve the land for the next generation. Many of those things were taken care of or were addressed in a significant way, and credit here goes to our own Jody Arrington for allowing for the provisions that brought together the One Big Beautiful Bill enacted July 4th of 2025. It made significant improvements, $64 billion in investments toward Title I and critical investments to crop insurance. The problem is those really don't kick in until the fall of this year, and so we're in a real cash flow squeeze for farmers right now. Simply, the costs of production are outstripping their potential revenue on the farm. That's a problem. That's a problem that even goes beyond the Farm Bill, Chad. We have major gains that have to be had on the trade front, and I support President Trump and his America First agenda to drive a harder bargain with our trade partners. They have to play by our rules if they're going to have access to the U.S. market. That's President Trump's mantra, and I support him in that. This takes time. Of course, in the meantime, President Trump has committed to stand by our farmers. And we even have, at the end of next week, we're going to have what's called Farmer Bridge Assistance. It's an issue that we've worked a lot on. It's going to provide critical cash flow to our farmers here. I think for the future, for this next Farm Bill, the thing, if we can bring it together, the thing that we've really got to concentrate on is helping our farmers invest up the chain, building more resilience by having more ownership and capturing more of the consumer dollar of the goods that they produce. But look, I'm so committed to fighting for our farmers. The blessing this nation knows because of the work and the sweat equity that our farmers build in every year is really unmeasured. God bless our farmers.
Matt Smith.
All right. So I think the first thing is farm should mean farm. It shouldn't mean SNAP and all the other things. Whenever we need to get assistance to our farmers, we need to get assistance to the farmers, not someone that's sitting at the house eating potato chips. The second thing is, I believe we have to cut the red tape. Whenever we have our government that's competing with us, with our farmers, that's a problem. I look at all these three-letter agencies, and I think if it's not in the Constitution, it shouldn't be part of our government. We have to first get in and we have to cut anywhere that there's overreach of the government. So cut the red tape, and I would say that includes EPA. And get them out of it so that our farmers can compete on a level playing field. It's ridiculous that our farmers and any energy producers are competing with other countries on a global market, and they don't have the same burdensome regulations that we have here that are making us at a very unfair disadvantage. We shouldn't be paying more for seed than other countries, people in South America pay. Equipment, it shouldn't cost more here than it does there. I love what Trump did with the most favored nation being able to have drug prices. We should do the same thing with our inputs because input costs are making it to where our farmers aren't able to compete at the level that they need to. So as a seventh generation Texan, going back to the days of the Republic of Texas, I think that we are some of the hardest working, most tenacious people in the country. We need to be able to compete. We just don't need to compete with our government. Thank you.
Dr. May?
Agriculture and energy are the foundations of our national security, and we lead the world here in West Texas. We need to make sure that our farmers are protected. I'm going to stick with the farming only. We can get into the welfare part of it later. But the thing we need as farmers, we need good markets. We need to be able to sell our products domestically and internationally. We need low costs on our inputs. The farmers are really getting hurt there. We need taxes that allow the farmer to farm and don't bankrupt them and lead people to suicide. And we need to be able, if we buy a tractor or a cotton stripper, we need to be able to repair that. We should not be dependent on somebody who's coming to get our money. As far as markets go, Trump is opening these markets. He's using tariffs as a good leverage to get us into China. Problem is, Argentina sells its soybeans for $1.30 less than we do. Trump, with negotiations, has helped us there. Canada used to charge us a 10% tariff on corn, up to 50% or more on dairy products. Japan, hundreds of percents on beef. Trump is opening those markets. Japanese, the whole world wants West Texas beef and high fat ice cream. Taxes, death tax wipes out farmers. Capital gains. My wife just sold her farms in California, and we moved them. and the capital gains almost wiped us out. Repairs. We need to buy equipment, and we need to be able to take care of that ourselves. Another opportunity we farmers have is artificial intelligence. I've been developing it on our farms for almost 20 years now. It's a great advantage. The West Texas agriculture, cotton, peanuts, others are going to greatly benefit as this is expanded.
Commissioner Corley.
Do you want me to answer the question or just rattle about ag?
Answer the question.
About 2 minutes. Okay. So your question was, what would you change in the farm program? So let's take a hard look at that one and get into the weeds on it. A lot of things that you're going to see in the farm program on your commodity crops are always done by acreage. We need to change that. It needs to be done by pounds, bushels, or bales. So that's one of the changes we need to make, because what happens is with the farm bill is it continues paying by acreage. It's causing consolidation. Ask yourself this. I mean, are there more farmers today than there was 20 years ago or 5 years ago or what? Name a date. The answer is no. There's less. There's always been less farmers. And what we're pushing ourselves towards is going to be these just monster conglomerates that are going to be corporate owned. And I don't mean somebody's got a little C Corp and all the family's still farming together. I'm talking about major corporations that own the land and are completely vertically integrated. And that's not what we want to see. We want to see our farms continue to remain in the hands of those original families. But that's the main change you need to make. You need to take those, take those payments, take it away from acreage and go based off of yield and production. If you do that, you're going to solve a lot of problems for the farmer. The other thing too, we've got to start defending the farmer in our international markets. We need to give the farmer a set price, a guaranteed price for their crop, and then go out and get that price for them in the world market. Stop letting China dictate directly to our individual farmers what they're going to get paid, because there's price makers and there's price takers. We've allowed the American farmer to be a price taker for far too long. If the federal government would step in and we have the right president to do this, we could make them price makers again. Thank you.
Mr. Barbee.
Yes, sir. So tariffs, I believe, has hurt our farmer. And I believe that if you're going to use someone's product on the world stage, then you need to subsidize them. We've got to make our farmers make the kind of money that they need to make. And I believe with my plans, my tax plan, my health care plan, it's going to free up enough tax money that we can actually set an automatic subsidy, so that if tariffs for some reason drive the price of our farmers' crops down, that automatic subsidy will automatically kick in and make it a fair price for our farmers. So that's the number one thing that
So you would include subsidies into a farm bill?
Yes. Automatic. If in the situation where what they're growing is being used on the national stage as a bargaining chip. So if we're bargaining with China on wheat or cotton or what have you, it's wrong to drive our cotton prices down for our farmers and let them stand out there on their own and not do something for them when our government's the one driving the price down. So I believe there ought to be a subsidy that kicks in automatically.
Okay. All right. Mr. Zink?
So I think when we look at the farm bill, we have to look at what was not included by farmers that I've talked to in this district. So one of the things that they've continually asked about is the reduction in technology fees. There should be enforcement. Why are we still supporting major ag organizations and not the farmer themselves? We have a lot of issues with this. Right to work, not included in the bill. Farmers have the right to work on their own equipment. And then again, when we look back, weak or minor areas that were injected into this for rural health care, which could also come off of the farm bill. When you bust your knuckles or get your hand caught in a swather, we have to have a hospital to go to in order to get that done. Then when we look at the total rising value of input costs, there's still really not that much about what we're going to do if we have surplus that we could use to battle retaliatory tariffs and bring those down, utilizing that as leverage. The farmers in this area, another issue that has been continuously brought up in here is water and conservation efforts. There's a very small section in the Farm Bill that even remotely comes close to touching conservation efforts for water, as we are being, inundated with this new technology that's coming in. And at the same time, that technology is still being used against us in the farming community because the AI, they can't work on it. They can't go in and get the parts. There's a trademark patent over the top of that prevents them from doing it. So they have to take it to the dealership in order to make that happen. That's ridiculous to me. Then we have, not to mention just that, but the major communities around here, there are people that are getting cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and now we have an executive order that's protecting these major institutions that are putting out a product that is hurting farmers, and nothing's being done about it. And we have to inject that into the bill, because if we are losing the older generation to diseases that are preventable, that doesn't do anything for us but drives the bottom dollar down, and we're going to start losing out. We have to protect the American farmer where we live right here in the district and add these things in.
Mr. Enriquez.
So we haven't had a new farm bill in over 8 years. What we actually have had is an extension of failed policies that have actually led to over 200,000 small farms to go completely out of business. And actually, within the Farm Bill, $400 billion of that, 3/4 of it actually go to SNAP programs, what has been mentioned on in this panel several times. So worse, our small family farmers actually get demonized for a bill that doesn't even support them. And I think what's worse is that our U.S. farmers, they pay for the same inputs than foreign farmers do. I think that's not America first. What President Trump is doing, talking about making free trade, fair trade, actually directly impacts our small family farmers and ranchers. So what should we do? Well, first, we need to reduce regulations that actually hurt small independent farmers, like emission rules. We need to look into things like writing a policy that lets them write off new equipment within the full year. And then serving on the USMCA Trade Renegotiation Committee, I've learned that free trade should actually be fair trade, and we should not have our farmers compete against China, India, Pakistan. And lastly, we need to have the courage to change to ensure that farmers can pass on their legacy to their children. Look, farming and ranching, it's not we'll get there when we get there with me. The only reason I'm allowed to even say and privileged to say that I'm an American is because my grandparents came here under the Braceros program as farm workers. Today their grandson stands before you to represent the very same land that my grandparents picked cotton and grapes and cantaloupes in. For me, preserving our farmers and ranchers in West Texas is deeply personal. Because of the ag industry, I'm allowed to say I'm an American. So I'm going to fight with every breath in my lung to ensure that we're not selling out our farmers and ranchers to big ag.
All right. We'll take a break now.
Tonight's debate coverage is brought to you by A.S. Dent Shop, 3034 Slide Road.
Fox on Tech. Google is ready to sell you a new phone. Google is introducing its newest Pixel smartphone, which it intends to be an entry-level device. The Pixel 10a is made out of the most recycled material of this series of Google phones, including elements like cobalt and copper. But Google promises the phones to also be the most durable of their devices, repelling water, oil, and dust, and resisting screen scratching. It charges faster than the Pixel 9a, and its battery holds more than 30 hours of juice despite a 6.3-inch screen that is 11% brighter. The 10A is also built with artificial intelligence in mind, integrating Google's various AIs, especially for taking and editing photos. And just as world governments are now demanding more interoperability between phone brands, the 10A's Quick Share will work with Apple AirDrop. Full retail price of $499. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
We now return to live debate coverage for Congressional District 19. Here's Chad Hasty.
And we welcome you back to the Texas 19 debates put on by the Lubbock County Republican Party here at Hillcrest Golf and Country Club. Due to time constraints, we only have about 3 minutes left in this one, so it's going to be a little bit of I'm only going to ask a couple of you a specific question, then we'll get back into the full debate in the next hour. But something that had been brought up by, I believe, you, sir, Mr. Barbee, is more subsidies into the Farm Bill. Do any of you agree with we need to put more subsidies into the Farm Bill for farmers? Anyone agree with that? Dr. May?
I want to make a comment on that. As part of the negotiations that are going on with Trump, and I think the negotiations are working very well for us farmers, is that prices of commodities have gone down. Cotton is way down. Corn is down. Soybeans are down. Under the first Trump administration, I sold soybeans at $18 a bushel and corn at $8 a bushel. Under the second Obama administration, Joe Biden, beans went down to about below $9.50. Corn went below $3.50. It hurt the farmers. The negotiations with China have hurt the farmers. Trump put $12 billion to help out people who have been hurt by these negotiations, and that has included the cotton farmer. It's included peanut farmers. It's included corn, soybeans. I think that is very helpful because farmers are working at a very, very tight margin. We farmers don't want welfare. We just as soon not have the government involved in our business. We'd rather they protect us like they're supposed to and keep out of the way. But we need the markets, and we have to depend on the
I want to give some just real quick time to Mr. Sell.
Chad, I'm going to be very proud to stand up for the farmers when they really need it. So now is one of those times. And we have worked to try and push the Trump administration to stand by our farmers in this very difficult time when farmers are in the red. And look, we'll come through that. These are commodity markets. We'll get to more profitable times. But, Abraham talked about the loss of 200,000 farms. But really, we have 2.1. That's reduced to 1.9 million. But when you look at it, it's been steady. 210,000 farms in this nation. 210,000 farms. That's less than 1/10 of 1% of our nation's population. 330 million people. 210,000 farmers produce 90% of the goods, the value of agricultural production. These are the guys with all their chips in the table, right? The family farms. They're not corporate farms. These are families. And as President Kennedy used to say, the farmers are the only guy in the economy who buy retail, sell wholesale, and pay the freight both ways. We got to stand by these guys.
We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.
When high winds and dangerous storms rock West Texas, stay ahead of the weather with the station you trust. Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO. Take KFYO on the go with the KFYO app, News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
It's 6 o'clock in Texas.
Staying on message. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump is selling his tariff plan ahead of next week's State of the Union address.
At a steel plant in Rome, Georgia, President Trump says his aggressive use of tariffs is keeping manufacturing alive in the U.S.
We've got a backlog now that's 7 months long. What a difference.
The president's use of emergency tariffs is facing a Supreme Court challenge. Justices have yet to rule on the case.
And the language is clear that I have the right to do it as president. I have the right to put tariffs on for national security purposes.
Voters in Rome head to the polls next month in a special election to replace former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, an ally turned critic of President Trump.
Fox's Jared Halper at the White House. The U.S. moving additional military assets close to the Middle East, even as negotiations continue for Iran to end its nuclear program. State Department spokesman Tommy Pigott says President Trump wants Iran to come to the table.
He wants to see a deal. He's a peacemaker. He's a deal maker. That's what he wants to see. But no one can doubt, based off the last time that the Iranian regime refused a deal, that the president means what he says. Operation Midnight Hammer proved that.
The president said he believes 10 to 15 days is enough time for Tehran to reach an agreement. Meanwhile, Iran held annual military drills with Russia today. This morning, the president held his first meeting of the Board of Peace.
With the commitments announced today, the Board of Peace is proving that it does not just convene countries. It devises and implements, and real solutions happen.
The U.S. will pledge $10 billion to the board, and 9 other countries are committing $7 billion in aid to Gaza. The president says several countries are sending troops to Gaza as part of an international stabilization force. America is listening to Fox News.
local events, newsmakers, and information. It's Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Coming up on Sunrise LBK Friday, Tom Collins and Matt Crow to give you a swift kick in the pants to get your weekend started.
We'll have Ryan Hyatt of TheRaiderland.com to preview the sports over the weekend.
Yeah, also the odd word for the day. Why?
No, because knowledge sounds good.
Well, of course. Hey, we got a prize bomb for you, too. It's all coming up. Tom and Matt, Sunrise OBK. Welcome to the weekend.
But as we go overnight tonight, the winds will settle just a tad. We are expecting low temperatures to cool on down into the mid-20s to mid-30s around the region. Here in Lubbock, a low of 34 is expected. And then for our Friday, a mostly clear sky, except more dust will be moving in. Highs will near 70 degrees during the afternoon hours. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the All-American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Jacob Riley on Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
This is the debate for Congressional District 19 in the Republican primary. We continue our live coverage with moderator Chad Hasty.
And we welcome you back to the Lubbock County Republican Party Texas 19 debates here at Hillcrest Golf and Country Club in Lubbock, Texas. We welcome all those who are listening via the radio as well. This will also be podcasted shortly after the show, wherever you get your favorite podcast from, whatever that platform may be. This question has popped up just kind of recently, and want to know what you folks think about this. There have been reports that the U.S. military could strike Iran as early as this weekend or within the next 10 days. Reports are that it won't be just a series of airstrikes, but a continued armada against the Iranian government. Do you believe the U.S. should attack Iran? If so, why? And what should be the end goal? I want to start with Matt Smith.
Okay, so this the past few months we've been a little bit busy with the campaign, and so I haven't followed as closely to exactly right now this part of it. But I will say, going back to the last time that the United States went in and dropped some really big bombs, I want to thank Israel first. Because what I saw Israel do is they cleared away. They took out the air defense. They took out so much so that we could fly in, drop some big bombs, and then get out of there without being touched. I applaud them for that. Next, whenever it comes to Iran, I don't think there's many of us that don't realize that they're bad actors. If we let them get a nuclear bomb, they've already said they're going to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. They hate them. They vowed to destroy them. We can't let them have the bomb. So if it takes taking them going in and striking again, I think that we should strike. As far as the ground part of it, I am not a long-term war kind of guy. I think that if we're strategic, we use air and we strike the nuclear program. I am for that, and I also see that the Ayatollah, the regime that is there, that's killing their people. This is ridiculous. We can't allow them to do that. I would hope that we could use more like the Mossad or some special forces to be able to strike the bad actors. We saw that Israel did an excellent job at taking them out prior to when we dropped our last big bombs. And I am for taking bad people out. We saw what happened in Venezuela. We have the best military in the world. We have to continue to support them. And if our president sees that this is the best for us and the national defense for America, then I support him in these actions.
Okay, thank you. Abraham Enriquez, I want to get your thoughts on it as well.
Yeah, so, I'm so happy on this conversation that we have a commander-in-chief and a secretary of state that have shown what happens when real men are in leadership and we show peace through strength. I'm very proud, Chad, to say that we have the strongest coalition of student volunteers in our campaign. Over 120 students. Are any of them here tonight? Thank you for joining in this movement. And when we first started this campaign, I sat down and I talked to them about why they were joining our movement, and they said, you are the only one talking about no more foreign wars. And when you're speaking to someone under the age of 25, the conversation of these establishment Republicans wanting to fund crazy wars, it stops their future right in the track, and they're afraid of that. They just want to be able to buy a home, start a family. So when we have conversations like this, I think we need to take in the accountability of our youth and what they think about it. As it pertains to Israel, I think Israel has 100% the right to defend itself, but America does not need to be engaging in foreign wars. But if we're talking about strike forces, I think where we should really be looking at is the Mexican cartel labs in our southern border. Mexico has trafficked into more fentanyl across our border to kill every single American. If we're talking about strikes, let's start with Mexican cartel labs, because that's where our military strikes should be focused in on.
Okay, so just to clarify, would you be in favor of of strikes on Iran or not?
If it pertains to national security, yes.
Okay. Mr. Sell.
Yes. I think what was accomplished in Operation Midnight Hammer was an incredible show of strength. I want to thank the military families from Dyess Air Force Base, this great strategic asset right here in the 19th District of Texas, who played a crucial part in this incredibly successful strike on Iran. The fact is, we're now building strength in that Gulf area, and none of us are privy to the information or the intelligence. But I have a great deal of respect for President Trump. We have a movement in the Republican Party just saying, just pay attention to what's going on our own borders. And I think that sounds nice in the near term, but it's foolish in the long term. It's like a farmer saying, don't pay attention to a weed if it's not crowding your sunshine or invading your root space right now. We've got to weed out evil in this world. We've got to do it in a wise way, and I think President Trump, Secretary Rubio, Secretary Hegseth, they are doing an amazing job of showing that strength, intervening when necessary, cutting off evil where it exists. What we accomplished in Venezuela, too, in decapitating the head of this evil Nicolas Maduro regime was an incredible success, and it sends a signal to the rest of the world. We have enemies from without, and we can't just ignore them or put our head in the sand and say we're just going to stay within our own borders. We are called as a nation to be a light to the world, a beacon of freedom and a beacon of hope. And so I'm for a very active military presence and foreign affairs policy. Kudos to Secretary Rubio, and let's keep it going for the good of all American people.
Does that include, I want to stay with you for just a second, does that include, would you want, when Abraham brought up the no more foreign wars, that's something that we have heard a lot about from the administration and from supporters of Trump. Would this, in your opinion, would that be going against the no more wars or forever wars, or if it's just a quick bombing campaign that lasts a couple of weeks and we're out, is that different than what we've seen in Iraq and Afghanistan?
No more wars is a noble goal. And the best way to accomplish that is through the show of strength and making sure that our military is equipped with the greatest technology, that our soldiers and airmen are trained at the highest possible way so that we can have an effective, efficient fighting force. That peace through strength that I grew up with, that President Ronald Reagan actually lived out, where we actually ended the Cold War under his regime. This is the path to peace worldwide. But we can't just stay within our borders. We are to be a light to all the lands.
All right. Dr. May.
Violence is the one word that describes the whole history of humanity. We've only had peace when the good guys have had superior military ability and kept the bad guys under control and pushed them back. We almost lost the world 80 years ago. If it hadn't been for people like Winston Churchill and FDR who understood what was going on, we'd either not be here or we'd be speaking Japanese or German or both. President Trump talks about no more wars and overwhelming firepower, that we can keep our enemies under control, we can push evil back. When bad guys pop up, they need to be taken out. Big mistake in World War II was We didn't take out the Japanese when they started getting out of control, and the French had the obligation to take out Hitler, and they did not. Trump has great skill in doing this. He offered the dictator of Venezuela numerous opportunities to go to Russia. He's offered the Ayatollahs numerous opportunities to go over and live in a dacha in Russia. If they don't take it, he will take them out. This war will go very, very quickly. It will not be protracted. It will last maybe a day or 2 or 3 days. I predict that the Americans and the Israelis will go in and take these folks out. If they do not, we'll wipe them out first, just like the Israelis wiped out the generals, cut off the head of the snake, and give Iran back to the people. This axis of evil right now is Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, Cuba. Cuba is next on the chopping block after we clean up Iran. These are good things. Get the bad guys out of the way and push back evil. That's the job of our government for protecting us.
All right. Commissioner Corley, your thoughts?
One of the reasons I supported Donald Trump was because of his statements about no more foreign wars. You know, it's easy to say to be in favor of war when you have no sons to give. My son is 19. He's enrolled at Texas Tech University getting a petroleum engineering degree. And, you know, so when you're asking me, should we go to war somewhere and I'm going to serve an elected office, you're asking me, is it worth your son's life? Iran is not worth my son's life. It is not worth your son's life either. So, no, I don't think we need to be going to a war in Iran. The greatest thing that we have in this country that we can do to control world affairs is our ability to go in and, you know, put in a boycott, to stop using a country's products, to be able to stop their trade. At the end of the day, if you can stop their trade, you can weaken their nation. We've seen Iran nearly, I can think of 3 different occasions where through riots in their own country, they nearly flipped over. So that's, if you're asking me, that's a better way of doing it. Going to war in Iran, suits what? What does it do? I'm sitting there saying this from just my experience watching the federal government. You know, I remember when, a lot of my friends went to Afghanistan to chase down a Saudi prince who we later killed because we found him in Pakistan. We conquered a nation, and how many people died? How many sons did we lose for that? Was it worth it? Ask their mothers. And then the way we pulled out of there, do you trust your government? I don't. What about all those weapons of mass destruction we found in Iraq? Do y'all remember those? I don't. They weren't there. They never were. At the end of the day, we answer to the military-industrial complex. It's going to kick the price of oil up. Trump's getting a lot of grief for that right now. It's also going to spur the economy. War's good at doing that, but it's not worth my son's life, and it's not worth yours either. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Zink.
Excuse me. So when it comes to dealing with our enemies, I'm very privileged to be endorsed by Veterans for America First. And so after talking to them about what's going on in the region, the number one answer that I got from the guys that I spoke to this week is that there's no reasoning with the people in the region. So whenever you come back and you look and see, we're also looking at the stability of a region that is working with our enemies. So when we look at Argentina, one of the biggest things that strike did was it destabilized oil and gas for China as well. So as we're comparing notes on what regions are in control of different areas, we have to understand, 1, who our enemy is, 2, what is the consequence of ignoring them over a long-term period, and number 3, what is going to be the casualties and costs, both financial and the loss of life. So for the region, if we can get in and we can do this relatively clean with airstrikes, I'm fine for that. I don't believe in sending over our men and women to die in an endless reign of terror over there when we have a military that has some of the most amazing airplanes in the world that we could just take out single itemized targets like we've done in Venezuela. So when we see that, we have to also consider our debt. Like I said, going back to the cost. What is this going to cost us in the long run? But when you cannot reason with a region and for what they are doing, the only option at times is to go in and take out the threat. Because this is America, and I'm an American first candidate, and I believe that we have to protect this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. So as we see the stability of that region, it also does affect Pakistan and China and Russia for the networks and negotiations that they're going through all together. So it's not just about that region. There's others that are involved in it too that are also our enemies and hate us.
All right. Mr. Barbee.
Well, I prayed it wouldn't be necessary. We see them slaughtering their own people. Iran's the number one sponsor of terrorists in the world. And we know by taking out their leadership that we can stop a lot of terror all over the Middle East. The problem is, when you do it, you're going to create a vacuum unless we put boots on the ground. We've seen what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan both. I like to tell people, this is America. We earned our freedom. Freedom can't be given to a country. And so it's nice to say, oh, well, we're just going to sit back and bomb them, until we kill the leadership. But if we don't put boots on the ground, we're going to have a vacuum there. It'll just be another terrorist group coming to take over. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be necessary, and I think we're going to do it. But, I don't know what the outcome's going to be, and that's what bothers me.
All right. Thank you all for that. When we come back, we're going to continue with our debate here at the Hillcrest Golf and Country Club, the Texas 19 Republican debate. We'll be right back.
Tonight's debate coverage is brought to you by A.S. Dent Shop, 3034 Slide Road.
ESN headlines. The four men wrongfully accused in the 1991 Austin yogurt shop murders have been declared actually innocent. Judge Dana Blasey officially clearing Robert Springsteen, Michael Scott, Forrest Wellborn, and Maurice Pierce. DNA testing eventually links serial killer Robert Eugene Brashers to the yogurt shop murders. The combination of low humidity and strong winds creating the fuel for dangerous wildfires across parts of Texas, especially in the Panhandle. Fire departments from across Texas helping to put out the two biggest fires, the Lavender Fire and the 8-Ball Fire. They've burned over 31,000 acres so far combined. American Airlines reaches a tentative deal on a new contract with flight attendants who work for one of its regional carriers. The Association of Flight Attendants says the deal will guarantee its members who work for PSA Airlines an immediate 10% pay raise and future increases between 30 and 50%. With your Texas News headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
The Texas Comptroller is the chief financial officer of the world's 8th largest economy. Governor Abbott knows Kelly Hancock will keep the Texas economy booming. Comptroller Kelly Hancock protected your tax dollars and worked with Governor Abbott to fund President Trump's border wall. That's why Governor Abbott trusts Kelly Hancock.
This is Governor Greg Abbott. Results matter. That's why I endorse Kelly Hancock for Texas Comptroller. There is no one I trust more. Vote Kelly Hancock.
Kelly Hancock's opponent, Don Huffines, talks a big game, but his record tells a different story. His plans would trigger massive tax hikes. Huffines opposes property tax relief, calling it fool's gold. No wonder Huffines used his fortune to fund liberal Democrats. Texas can't afford the risk. Vote for the conservative Abbott-Hancock team. Greg Abbott for governor, Kelly Hancock for comptroller.
Political ad paid for by Texans for Greg Abbott.
But as we go overnight tonight, the winds will settle just a tad. We are expecting low temperatures to cool on down into the mid-20s to mid-30s around the region. Here in Lubbock, a low of 34 is expected. And then for our Friday, a mostly clear sky, except more dust will be moving in. Highs will near 70 degrees during the afternoon hours. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the All-American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Jacob Riley on Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Ted Cruz here. Tune in to KFYO every Sunday at 11 for Verdict with Ted Cruz. But stick around for Reason, Religion, and Reality at noon, followed by the best of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, right here on the News and Talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
securing America.
As negotiations continue on a potential new nuclear deal with Iran, many are wondering if President Trump will eventually strike the Islamic regime if talks break down. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said during a briefing Wednesday, while diplomacy is the first option,
Iran would be very wise to make a deal with President Trump.
The USS Gerald Ford is on its way to join the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Middle East, putting 2 Navy aircraft carriers in the region. NATO Ambassador Matthew Whitaker told Fox Business' Stuart Varney,
American firepower, which is unmatched across the globe, is great leverage.
Vice President J.D. Vance told Fox's Martha McCallum Tuesday that the U.S. will not allow Iran to have nuclear weapons.
It's one of the most hostile and also one of the most irrational regimes in the world. You can't have people like that have the most dangerous weapon known to man.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Empowering West Texas with news that matters. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO.
District 19. Here's Chad Hasty.
Welcome back to the Texas 19 debates. I'm pretty sure each and every one of you has supported President Trump's actions on the border. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. Thank you, audience. All of you have supported President Trump's actions on the border. Whether it be in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, who knows? At some point, Congress is probably going to come back and say we need broader immigration reform. It's been brought up by some Senate candidates. In your opinion, what should broader immigration reform include and not include? Including DACA, any type of amnesty, and I want to start off with Tom Sell.
I would agree immigration reform is needed. The Immigration Nationalization Act of 1980, it has been many, many years, decades since that bill was totally reauthorized. Amnesty is off the table. We cannot support amnesty. We do need to improve our legal immigration programs to give people opportunities to come to the U.S. to work. Abraham has already mentioned that his grandparents, I believe, came on the Bracero program. That program has evolved in what we call H-2A these days. It's the Agricultural Guest Worker Program. Unfortunately, it is too cumbersome. It's not transparent. There's not a high degree of accountability. Some are able to get in, but it is a real challenge. We have real needs in the agricultural sector. We have low unemployment, and it is very difficult for a lot of the businesses in our region to be able to access quality workers who want to work and take care of things and create a better life for their kids. That is the American dream that we've all been part of. And so I think whether it's in agriculture, construction, hospitality, even high tech and education and science-based we have to have legal immigration systems that work and bring some of the greatest talent in the world who want to work to the U.S. as we grow, as our economy builds. And so those key kind of pillars are just transparency, accountability. We got to take out some of the costs as well. Employers have to be responsible, though. That's the other key thing. President Trump has talked about this in cabinet meetings, and I think he lays it out perfectly well. And he is challenging the employers to bring the accountability on this system. So I think the clock didn't start till late, so I'm gonna hand it off. Thank you.
Appreciate it. I want to get Abraham, if you could weigh in. Sorry, I've got so many buttons over here that I've got to press now. Abraham, I want to get your opinion on this, and also, obviously, you've dealt with. You've got, Hispanic organization. You've dealt with a lot of folks along the border and other Hispanic organizations. When it comes to also bringing in more Hispanics into the Republican tent, how do we continue that past Trump? Because Trump's done a great job of it. Yeah. How do we continue that moving forward?
I was the only person at this table that served as an RNC delegate to the convention where I proudly casted my vote on behalf of Texas for President Trump to receive the Republican nomination to run for president. And in the rally, there was a night that the night theme was mass deportations. And I went on CNN and Telemundo Univision, an area that's very friendly to Republicans. And they said, Abraham, are you not afraid of this message alienating Hispanic voters? And I said, if there's a demographic that is the most pro-border security, and a demographic that understands that we need to reform our immigration system, it's Hispanics. We have been burned by immigration reform every single election cycle. And President Trump was the only one speaking to what Hispanics in South Texas, Hispanics in Tucson, Arizona, were experiencing day in and day out. Illegal immigration affects every single person, but it affects Hispanic border towns the most. And what happened was we helped get President Trump the largest share of Hispanic voter outreach any Republican presidential candidate has ever seen. So I believe that being strong on border security and reforming our immigration system will only bring in hundreds of more Hispanics because we believe in law and order.
Matt, let's bring you into the conversation on this. What do you think a broader immigration reform package should look like if it comes before Congress?
Yeah, the first thing that we have to do is we have to secure the border. We have to make sure that we don't have people coming in running fentanyl and human trafficking, etc. Shut the border, deport those bad actors, and then we have to be able to look at, as far as immigration reform, absolutely no amnesty. That is a bad idea. We have to make sure that we have the demand for labor addressed first. And the way that we do that is we cut the government cheese that's paying people to sit at home, eat Doritos on their couch instead of getting out and working when they're able-bodied. Because if we get those people off of the government subsidy, they start working and it has less of a demand for labor. Or we have more supply. And it's basic economics. When we look at it from a business standpoint, stop competing with us, government. Stop paying people that are able to work to sit at home. Then we have more labor. And then we don't have as much of a need for people to come here illegally. And then we need to make it to where, what I think we'll see is, I think we'll see more of a migration of labor to where we have people in areas that are sitting there getting unemployment or sitting on food stamps that don't need it. They will now start working. Those people will move to the area where we have more demand for labor, and then we don't have people coming across. And then we have to look at it to see, how do we get the people that those gaps aren't filled yet? We have to make it to where they can come in with the work permits if it's for work. If it's for immigration, just to become a citizen, well, they need to go through the citizenship process, and they need to be able to follow our laws, and if they don't, they need to be deported.
All right, and let's bring in Commissioner Corley.
So changes to our immigration policy was your question. So, okay, first off, let's go back to the 1970s. We had a really good policy in place that they should have kept, and that was to, back then they were charging anybody caught hiring an illegal immigrant $30,000. That put a stop to it. Illegal immigrants could not get a job. So what'd they do? They went home. It was pretty simple. The H-1 visa process is constantly abused. One of the biggest abusers of this is actually Disney, bringing in Chinese computer programmers to replace their cartoonists. They told the Disney cartoonists out in California, okay, you're going to train your replacement or you don't get your retirement. And that's what they did. Don't think this ain't about picking grapes and strawberries, guys. This is about a lot of things. When you bring in illegal labor into a country, or when you abuse an immigration system to bring people into the country, you drive down American wages. Certain industries have always been bad about this, and whether it's construction, whether it's the meatpacking plants. But if you're bringing in people to drive down the wages to where an American can't do the work for that price, or can't live on that price, or won't do that for that price, there's a problem. That's what we need to be looking at, and stop using illegal immigration and legal immigration to drive down wages for American workers. Thank you.
And let's go ahead. Let's do this. Let's take the break. When we come back, we'll have a little bit longer of a last segment, including closing statements when we come back, and the Texas 19 debate.
Tonight's debate coverage is brought to you by Williams Brake Tune and Tire, 311 19th Street in Lubbock.
We now return to live debate coverage for Congressional District 19. Here's Chad Hasty.
Okay, and welcome back to the Lubbock County Republican Party Texas 19 debate. We've had, I think, some great answers this evening, great responses from the candidates. We appreciate all of you for attending tonight's debate. We're in that time where we don't have a lot of time left, thanks to radio constraints. So let's start with 1 minute closing statements. And Dr. May, we'll start with you, and we'll just kind of work down the line.
Well, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity tonight. It's important that we have people in Congress who can work with President Trump, support him, codify his laws, and have the ability to construct the necessary amendments. The only way we're going to protect ourselves is many of these laws need to be turned into amendments so they become permanent and that future generations of liberals can't take them out. We need to work on agriculture. We need to work on energy production. We have artificial intelligence here. We're the world leader in these areas, and West Texas needs to lead. We just can't raise our hand and say we're going to support, we're going to go along, we're going to help President Trump. We need to be the leaders. We need to be putting in the ideas. We need to be going to President Trump and the leadership and getting things done. Artificial intelligence is prime in this area, getting back to constitutional law and bringing back the Christian foundations on which this nation was founded with our Declaration of Independence and continued with our Constitution.
Commissioner Corley.
I want to thank everybody for coming out today. My name is Jason Corley. I'm a Christian, I'm a husband, I'm a father. I've served as your Lubbock County Commissioner for Precinct 2 for the last 7 years. In that time, I've worked to lower your taxes, expose corruption, and bring about change through good policy. In that time, we managed to get our game room problem under control. We went from 100 illegal game rooms down to 31. We didn't need a task force. We didn't need a SWAT team. We needed a clipboard. We just needed good policy. Most of the problems we have in Washington, D.C. today, they're no different than the problems we have here in West Texas. It's just bad policy that has made bad laws. And bad laws have empowered bad people, and those people always seem to somehow get into government and find other ways to manipulate, whether it's our congressmen, whether it's our tax dollars, but eventually it always winds up being us at the end of that stick that gets manipulated. That's what I'm going to fix, and that's what I'm going to change. Thank you.
Mr. Barbee.
Yes, so it's James Barbee on the ballot. I want to thank you for having us out and letting us speak to you. I want to leave you just with one thing. And I believe if we truly want to make America great again, this is how it has to happen. Jesus charged us with, love ye one another as I have loved you. I don't know about y'all, but that's a pretty tall order. But I truly believe this is the only way we're going to make America great again. You're going to have to take that charge and make it serious. And when you do, you're going to see great things happen in this country. Thank you.
Mr. Zink.
Well, my name is Ryan Zink. I'm really happy to see this is, I think this is the best turnout for any of the ones that I've been to. So thank y'all because, federal elections are lost at the local level. So I appreciate your support coming out tonight. I'm a hardcore patriot, conservative, and a father. I believe that there are 3 books that govern this land, the Bible, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution, that they all build off of each other. And I believe that the power needs to be returned back to the people. Far too long we've seen our constitutional rights be stripped away from us, one vote at a time, one bill at a time. We need to get the power back to the people and restore back into the rightful place Jesus Christ at the head of all of our institutions. Beyond that message right there, I'm very grateful for you guys coming out. If you'd like to know more about me, you can go to ryanzink.vote, or you can go and check out my recent interview with Tucker Carlson about the mistreatment I had in Washington, D.C., and I'd love to see all of you out and get to meet each and every one of you at my table after this. Thank y'all.
Abraham Enriquez.
I want to start off by saying that I have a lot of love for every single person on this stage. I've learned so much about them. I honor them and I bless them. Folks, born and raised here in West Texas, this is a place that I want to raise a family. This is a place that I want to start a business. This is a place that I want to live my entire life in. So the fight here is who's going to show up and who's going to fight. When President Trump was indicted by a corrupt prosecutor, I was the only one that flew down to Miami, stood with him, did a prayer circle with him. When it came down to keeping Kamala Harris out of the White House, there was only one candidate that led a national movement to ensure that we had a President Trump. When the White House needed over a dozen pieces of policy that they wanted to get across the finish line, there was only one person at this table that they called. But let's break it down to the local level. When life was on the ballot here in Lubbock, there was only one person at this table that was making the calls, knocking on the doors, getting voters to the polls. When marijuana was on the table, there was only one candidate that was making the calls and getting voters out to the poll. Folks, I have always shown up, and I will always show up for the people that I love the most, which is you. Thank you, West Texas. I hope to earn your support.
Mr. Sell.
Thank you, Chad. Tom Sell. And I also want to just start by saying thanks to everyone in the room for getting out. We are indeed blessed to live in this nation. Too often we spend time counting grievances rather than counting our blessings as a nation, as a people, as individuals. Your being out here tonight shows that you care about the future of our nation. It's high stakes right now. This election is important. And the real question for us is, who do we really trust to go up there and be a consistent, firm voice for the values that we love in West Texas? I don't just talk conservative talk. It's the easiest thing to do. I've walked the walk. We've lived a conservative life here in West Texas. We're so proud of that. The issues we face as a nation are important. The values are so important. Also, we need someone who will fight for the industries that are so important to us here in West Texas. Ag, energy, all that connects us. So I want to thank you. I want to ask for your vote. And I want to just end by saying God bless West Texas and God bless the United States of America.
Got a yeehaw in there. Matt Smith.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Vote Fat Matt Smith. Matt Smith on the ballot. Proven in business. I've shown that I'm able to lead companies, build teams, and that's what it's going to take to be your congressman. It takes someone with proven leadership, built businesses, sold businesses, and I've been successful with it. I'm donating my entire congressional salary into the district. I'm not going there for the money. I'm going there because I believe that we're ready to drain the swamp and we're sick of what we've seen. If you're with me, then vote Matt Smith. Because I promise you, with having 5 kids and about to adopt a 6th, there's a lot more on the line than my pocketbook. I think that we see it and we are sick of what we've seen. If you like what we've had in Congress, then keep voting the same way. If you're ready for an outsider like President Trump, someone that wasn't a part of the political system, then vote for me. I'm the businessman. I'm the outsider, the Christian family man. Thank you. Matt Smith, Fat Matt Roofing. Oh, no, Fat Matt Smith for Congress.
And there's the businessman right there. Just a reminder for the candidates and everybody else out here, just remain seated even after our broadcast. We'll have a couple of announcements. Candidates want to thank each and every one of you again for coming here. Ladies and gentlemen in the crowd, let's give them another round of applause. Just a reminder, for those of you listening at home or wherever you may be, those of you in the audience, this will be on our podcast, under the Chad Hasty Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any other podcast platform that you're a part of. You'll be able to go back, listen to tonight's podcast, and send it out to everyone. Thanks to Steve Evans for helping out this evening, putting all the audio together, and keeping us on air. Thanks to Nick back home as well. May God bless each and every one of you. We'll talk to you later.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station, staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.